Hey everyone, I'm Almar of almarsguides.com, and this is my video going over the War v War gathering guide I have for Guild Wars 2. Now, War v War is actually pretty good to gather in, believe it or not, just because of a few different nodes throughout here that are worth picking up, such as root vegetables, gold ore, the Tukawa saplings, which also contain seasoned wood logs, which sell for huge amounts, more than even elderwood logs sell for, and just a little bit under what ancient wood sells for even. And gold sells for actually more than mithril, which is actually pretty surprising, considering it's a much lower level material. So before I get into showing you the run, I'm going to show you the map and where pretty much we're going. You can see my dotted line a little bit across the map. So first let me elaborate here with what we're going to be doing. What you want to do is select one of these War v War areas that is not your homeland. Otherwise you'll start in the northern portion of the zone, which has much lower level things that you can gather. You want to pick either whatever other servers are paired with you, their homelands, and start there. You'll start in the bottom here or bottom here, depending on which one you choose. And you want to gather this whole first island by you, which is we'll call it the safe zone. And then you can move to this area here, which is pretty safe. Wow, that got all messed up. That area there, which is pretty safe too. And then this area here, which if you own the supply camp, is pretty safe as well. Moving over to this area is a little bit dangerous. And moving anywhere else above like this line is just not very good for gathering, because then it has like silver, copper, and stuff like that. But that's pretty much all you need to know about that. Now we're going to transition into the actual video part. Alright, so before I actually get into this run and explaining the inner workings and how everything works, after listening to my previous narration, I know I say War v War, and it's actually World vs. World, but let's face it, both of them explanations for that acronym make very little sense, because neither wars nor worlds are proper entities that can verse each other. So, if actually looking at it, if I'm a nerd and you got all pissy because I said it wrong, we're both stupid for saying it either way. It's actually still PvP, because those are the only two entities that can verse each other. Now, actually starting with the run, down in the bottom right or bottom left corner, wherever one you start out, depending on whichever area you choose, you're going to want to head north up to your little first keep area. Not keep, but tower, I'm pretty sure it's called. And you want to gather everything on this little island area here, and then you want to transition over to the first small island that's just north of the supply camp and between your tower and the enemy's tower. Gather everything on this island. There's usually normally a gold, iron, and usually a Tukawa sapling, which has seasoned wood logs. And then just south of that island you have the supply camp. Now, if your faction does not own the supply camp, depending on the time of the day, I'd actually recommend skirting by this area. The reason for that is if their faction owns if the opposite faction owns the supply camp, or either of the opposite factions, what you'll want to do is kind of stay away from it. Like I said, depending on the time of day. If it's prime time, there's a good chance that a lot of people are running around doing stuff out here. But if it's early in the morning, like 6 in the morning or even 2 to 3 in the morning, the chances of people being in this area is much more unlikely. Actually, I've seen it to be more around 6 a.m. There's really no one doing War v War at all, like anywhere, for any reason. And that's because even at like 2 in the morning, even PST, it still has people, you know, across the ocean playing the game. And at least on Darkhaven, my server does exceptionally well at night. And pretty much that's when like all of our guilds come alive, and we retake everything during the night when nobody else is doing anything. So, as a whole, pretty much listen to where I showed you in the introduction where you can go and where you shouldn't go. And also, after you clear out those 3 areas, and if you wanted to move over to the enemy side of the War v War area, then you can do that area if you want. Or what you can do, if that area is a little bit too risky, is go back to your supply camp, or not supply camp, but area waypoint that you came in at. And instead of leaving out of the town, the northernmost area, leave out of the town the northeastern or northwesternmost area, going up towards the logging camp, which is usually just to the north right or north left of your camp. Now, at the logging camp, you're going to be finding a bunch of other goodies, but really nothing else that you won't be finding anywhere else. The only thing that I can recommend is don't pick up the mushrooms that are up here. The mushrooms only ever sell for like 1 to 2 copper a piece, and they're not even worth the each whack, or I don't know what you would call the sickle, each sick of the sickle that would gather it is, I think, 8 copper for the ori chalcum, and you're just losing money no matter how you cut it. Now, the main things that we're going to be gathering here are seasoned wood logs, which come from the Tukawa saplings, gold ore, which comes from, well, gold ore, iron ore, which comes from, well, you probably got the point, from gold, and the other 2 things that we're going to be gathering, primarily, everything else you can ignore, it's optional, is young herbs and root vegetables. Now, young herbs can contain a ton of different valuable things. Just a few that actually aren't that valuable come to mind. Bay leaves, oregano, and things like that. I'm not sure if you can get rosemary sprigs out here, but in different zones, like Dredge Haunt Cliffs, you can get rosemary sprigs, which is why I like farming Dredge Haunt so much. And aside from that, the most valuable thing you can gather out here is root vegetables, believe it or not. Now, root vegetables usually aren't that valuable in a lot of other zones, but in the War v War zones, they give yams. And yams sell for about 2 silver to 3 silver a piece. And you can keep gathering from the same root vegetables pile if you get lucky enough and gather a lot of yams. Maybe like 2 or even 3, sometimes even more yams from the pile. And you can really rack up how much money you're going to make just from a single root vegetables gatherable node. Aside from that, there's really nothing else I can think of saying for the War v War areas. What you want to do is, after you gather one area, you can port to the other one, just hit M, zoom out, select the other waypoint, and gather the safe areas again. And that's pretty much all there is to it. I only recommend really gathering in the safe areas, like I said in the beginning of the video. Don't go above that line area, because then you start getting lower level gatherables such as silver, platinum. You'll only get iron, but you won't get any gold, which is more valuable. And you'll start getting copper and pretty much just going down the line with blueberries and stuff like that. So if you wanted to get them, you head on up there and grind up and gather everything you can. You might as well go to your own borderlands if that's the case, because it'll be a lot safer for you, unless of course you're under attack. But that's pretty much all there is to it. So if you guys enjoyed this video, like, comment, and subscribe for future Guild Wars 2 videos. And as always, good luck and happy hunting.